If you need truth, this is the place for you. No need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word is self-approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken.
And shalom to everyone. We're so glad to have you today. I don't want you to be misinterpreted or misunderstood that we are about to have a program that's going to be, again, controversial. We do trust and pray that all things you understand and you embrace are from Yahweh, who is our ELOHIM, and our belief and our understanding of our walk in and through faith. So today, this wonderful and great day, I want you all to understand the significance of the conversation we're going to have. And I need you to know that it is in love that we share it, in love that we spread it. And I pray that you would spread this with those of you who you love and you appreciate so desperately and dearly as well. Well, I'm going to have to make a few announcements happen very quickly right after our moment of prayer. And I want you to understand the significance of that. So here we go as we pray. Father, we come before you in the mighty and in the matchless name of Yeshua HaMashiach. We do bless, exalt, and extol you because of who you are and why you are in our lives. There is none like you, literally, and all things because of you are, in fact, truth. We hold now our minds and our hearts before you, that you would embrace us as we make the embrace of you. Our days are because of you. Our times are only because of you. And we're asking you to be glorified in all the things done and spoken. We love you so much. And sometimes we don't always please you. But we ask you today to be with us, to be in us, to be through us, to be toward us, to be for us, in your name's sake and in your praise. Grace us now with the abilities to hear you. I decrease all things VW, that all things you be made evident and clear. I pray you now for your spirit to grace us with the hope and process in which you have given unto us called life, how we should walk within it, how we should live within it, and put ourselves in position to be compliant with you these great days. Your blood, I plead over my life, that your spirit might rest within it. This is my earnest prayer in the precious and matchless name of Yeshua HaMashiach. We all say, and we all look to pray and say, Amen. Well, today we're coming in with another program on the proceeding word, which I think should be blessing and helpful and hopeful to you all about how we should live and what we should live in this earth like. These days are very important to us because we are living in the days of sorrow. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday night. I hope that you'll be here for that broadcast, which will be coming up. So as I do my announcements today, I'm going to take the opportunity to push them forward in a very unique way. And then I'm going to have someone come on and give the description for today's room. But we want to make sure that you all are aware that on Wednesday nights, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we are here for the proceeding word at 1 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time each day. And then also every Wednesday, we're here for what we know as our Bible study, which we study the writ every single solitary week at midday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This particular series we're on this is going to be the tour of duty, the issue within eschatology. Then also on Thursdays, we're here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are studying the Torah from beginning to end, the Bible from beginning to end, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, we're Sabbath keepers, so we keep the Shabbat. That means if you've never been in the Shabbat, you want to come in, if you believe, you want to come in. Those of you who believe and are a part of this lifestyle, we have a safe place for you to come and study should you get distracted and in some cases discouraged in your Sabbath worship. You have a safe place to come. I open up my studies to you guys so that you can have a place to stay focused on the word, because when you go to do Sabbath keeping, everything of the enemy will come towards you. Everything of your past will come towards you to make you, help you distract you. All right. So we're here to help keep that straightened out. So that's Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, most cases, and definitely most cases on Sabbath, Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, because of that, the morrow after Sabbath service is what we call our actual flagship programming for the VWJ and DKM ministries. And those are the days that we mandatorily come together as believers in this kingdom post, and we sit, we listen, we learn all things Yahweh our Elohim. All right. So those are the things we want you to remember. But more importantly, I want you to remember that if you're here with us today, we're speaking the life of shalom over you, harmony, wholeness, health, soundness of mind, completeness, fullness, rest for your soul, wealth, health. We want safety for you, tranquility, perfectedness, welfare of your being. More importantly, the all elements of shalom. All right. Well, welcome again to the broadcast. This is the proceeding word, and we do have a programming that I think is going to help you today. We have a moderator that can bring on the descriptions for this particular subject matter on today. Moderator.
Shalom, everyone. Today's description is the public's enemy. Don't believe the hype. We all know that the enemy of our faith is evil. Thus, evil puts out these PSAs, public service announcements, in your chosen communities of existence all the time, which are filled with hype and fluff called pipe dreams and unrealistic expectations designed to capture your attention mentally and resources for evil's consented usage of you, which is not what faith in Elohim requires. Let's see how this truly looks in your life and how to defend against intentional strategies against yet undesired use of you by evil. Please remember, don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype. There was a group back in the day called Public Enemy, and Chuck D, that was my guy. Yes, that's when the culture that is now known as hip hop was a activist movement about a culture of an oppressed and depressed people, and how it had been easily tricked into thinking that being in the suburbs made you equal. And Chuck D was a very strong activist about this, as well as some other ones. They were KRS-One from Boogie Down Productions. There were others beside them. I will not go into all those different names, but I am a 70s, 80s music, 60s music lover. And the music then for even the rap game wasn't all synthesized. It was still the percussions from the drummers, the horns, and the guitars. So for me, musically, that's what locked me in. But then when I heard the words, and it resonated with the life I was living. So Chuck D had a very popular song. The album was very popular. It was called Public Enemy #1. And in Chuck D's lyrics, he had something that he had a hype man. Okay. He had a hype man, little short guy. Flavor Flav, that was his name. He wore this ridiculous clock around his neck. And in wearing this clock around his neck, it indicted time. Now, that was perceived by many people in their own perceptions and based on their own perspectives. But in hindsight now, historically speaking, they could not have been more, I dare say, prophetic, but very much forthtelling of a condition of the society it was in, and thereby ran a problem for others who looked to oppress and suppress the people they spoke and they were activists on behalf of. So he said, don't believe the hype. You're going to be told a lot of different things. Don't believe the hype. He gave you the understand. Don't believe that. Don't get hyped up, people, into thinking that because you saw the stories of the Jeffersons, that you can move on up you are still oppressed and suppressed by an oppressor who will give you what they want you to have to make and appease your ego. But at the end of the day, don't believe the hype because you're still stuck in their ego. That's pretty profound to me. And so when you understand that, I know an activist who spoke that same narrative earlier than Chuck D. And Chuck D and Public Enemy #1, which was the album, and the song was Don't Believe the Hype. There was another person who was literally Public Enemy #1 in his day, in his time of life. His name wasn't Chuck D. His name was Yeshua. And Yeshua was Public Enemy #1 because he told the people in a civilization and a society, even a religious construct, don't believe the hype. You are still, if you do not comply with the main line of the humanity and the instructions for humanity, you will still always be oppressed no matter what the oppressor gives you to make you feel good about you. Whoa, my God, Jones, you trying to start a fire. It's Monday morning. I feel like I can. So when Messiah made this statement to all of us, we didn't really understand it because it was, of course, to his own people. He came to his own, watch this, his own received him not. That made him Public Enemy #1 to his own people and to the authorities in his land and his culture and his faith. So when Messiah, the real Public Enemy #1, watch this, the real Public Enemy #1 is Elohim's word. Ever since Adam ate the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, evil was always out against Elohim's word. Some of y'all think evil is just the devil. That's where you're ignorant. And we are ignorant because we were not taught that evil is where the devil operates. Evil is its own element by itself. So when we think about what Adam did, the moment we saw him transgress, read of him transgressing, you must understand that the enemy of our faith isn't the devil, it's evil. And evil will only ever use in an attempt to mimic for its own selfish gain the words of Elohim, to use the creation of Elohim for its purpose and its bidding. So the public's enemy, we're the public's, and our enemy is evil. And evil loves to mimic the word of God in your life to make you do what evil wants done, because evil knows that without faith, it is impossible for the public to please Elohim. So today I'm bringing a multifaceted, peel back scenario of what this looks like very practically in our lives. And some of the things that you're going to see may shock you or may take you aback because you've been seeing it but did not recognize it. And now you're going to see it for what it is. So if you're with us on our virtual feeds and our live feeds visually, we want you to actually go ahead, hit like, make a comment, and subscribe to the YouTube and or the Facebook platforms that we have you on. In Clubhouse, you might want to share this today. It should be really fun and really good. You can make your comments in the chats. We're going to love to have them. We don't antagonize here. We don't fight with anybody here. We just put it out there for what we understand it. If you have a question or you have a concern or you have an idea or you have a revelation, please feel free to respectfully share it in our comments, and we will make it our business to help talk about that with you and put it in perspective of the Torah's focal. All right. Now let's look at what the real public enemy had to say. Well, first off, public's enemy. is evil. Evil is the opposite of good. Elohim has made both evil and good. And evil is a balance, just like there is a balance to good and good is a balance to evil. These things must exist in the earth for you and I to live an appropriate and fulfilled life. You must experience evil and you must experience good. The problem is we oftentimes don't understand the purpose of either. Yahweh made a statement. He says, I know my plans concerning you. He told Jeremiah to tell us, I know my plans. I created you. I gave you good. Adam messed up, gave you evil too soon. And now I got to try and fix this. So I gave y'all the Torah to show you back to a right life in goodness and righteousness. And you still, because of Adam's failure, and now that you've experienced evil and all of its temptations, you have some of those things in you that you think you can do and you think you are grown enough to do. But if you want to please me and make it back to me when your life is done in this earthen form, you need to have done these instructions. And this is where Adam failed us. But I'm going to send a second Adam. I'm going to send a second Adam to fix that. So instantaneously, when Yahweh made that prophecy, that made Yeshua, who would be the second Adam, public enemy number one. Now, those who try to follow Yeshua, we are the public. So public's enemy is evil, because Messiah said, I know, Yahweh said, I know my thoughts concerning you. My thoughts are of good, and my thoughts are not of evil. Oh, we've been around here screaming and talking and jumping up and down in churches, talking about God mean good for me. I'm going to get all good. But you didn't listen to what he said. He says, your thoughts are not like my thoughts. Your plans are not like my plans. Your ways are not like my ways. Matter of fact, as far as the heavens are from the earth, so are my thoughts, my plans, and my ideals for you. That's how different we are. Now, my thoughts are not of evil. My thoughts are of good. Watch what he says. Jeremiah, the prophet, told us. The prophet. Let me pause and say this. Can y'all say Paul's apostle? Say Paul. Say it with attitude. Say Paul's apostle. Come on, brothers. Paul's apostle. Come on, brothers. I'll show you how to do it. Brother, be like, yo, Paul's apostle. Ladies, y'all can be like, Paul's apostle. Y'all ready? Go ahead. Y'all not, okay, y'all did it already. Okay, cool. So you're going to hit pause here. The first thing we need to understand is that a real prophet only speaks the instructions of Elohim from his Torah. A true prophet, any prophet, all prophets of Elohim only speak Elohim's words. They don't, watch this, hype you up. Amen. If your product is good, you ain't got to gas me up to get me to buy it. Let me lay it down one more time with the natural analogy, and this just came in directly from Elohim, but I'm going to get to the written in just a second. Are y'all viewing this? Are y'all watching this? Are y'all enjoying this? Are y'all sharing this? Because it's deeper than we think. Watch. See, I hate salesmen. I don't hate the person. I hate salesmanship. Because it's usually a farce. It's usually a selling of a false bill of lading. And I've been in business a very long time. I have been groomed in business a very long time. I have been in warehousing. I have been in sales. I have been in operations. I have been in ARAP. I have been in what we call shortage and shortage for the companies, and loss prevention, pardon me. And I very, very active in security. Okay, of people's persons, and people's possessions. All right. So I'm speaking from a wealth of knowledge and experience that are not just a bunch of words I read on Google or I read in a book. I have knuckles and palms that have been calloused working this process. So a real prophet of Elohim will only ever share with you the word of Elohim. A real prophet will never hype you up, never gas you up. I'm going to tell you why. I was, again, not a fan of salesmanship. We should never be selling Messiah. You should be simply expressing your relationship with him. When you got to sell Jesus, when you got to sell anything, it becomes a problem. So let me go back to a natural analogy that I think everybody will get a benefit from. I used to try to make money any way I could. Now, I am not glorifying this world, but I want y'all to understand it. Can I give y'all a part of my testimony that actually edifies this point and not to be grandizing about who I was and what I did? Will y'all allow me? Y'all did say pause.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it. Go ahead, Apostle. All right, cool. I got to go ahead, Apostle. All right. So when I was out there in the streets and where I came from in my neighborhood, everybody did what we did in that day. And that was, unfortunately, it was contraband. Some got caught, some died, some went to jail, some made it out. I'm one. But the point was, even in that game, people would actually, what y'all doing today, and y'all need to really back off for this contraband and this weed that y'all pushing and smoking and all that stuff. And unless it's for medicinal purposes, please do not do it for recreational purposes unless you got a real legitimate reason to use some of these chemicals and or these herbs that are now being ultra modified. Please cease and make sure you are doing it under medical inquiries and understandings. These are the things that we need to have done in this time. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you all understand what goes on and what is all about. All right. Now, at the end of the day, there is a process that you must, in fact, know for what it is you do. When you, in fact, give yourself over to an idea of wanting to escape from your reality and you take on contraband or anything of that nature, when you do that, that is a big issue. Hold on one second, guys. We're going to have to take a quick break here for a second. I'll be right back.
If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word is self-approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken.
All right. Sorry about that. We're back. I had to make sure I checked something out. We had a little bit of a technical glitch here, but it's fixed now. All right. So my storyline to you guys, and we can understand it. Are you still hearing me? Everybody hearing me okay? Let me know you hear me okay. Facebook, YouTube, everybody hear me okay? All right. Pay attention. So I want y'all to catch this and understand this with your hearts and your minds. When I was in that world, and I had to be in that world because that's how we grew up in our neighborhoods, and our neighborhoods were depressed, oppressed. And so people did contraband, made money that way. I would hate to see the people get beat bags. A beat bag is when a dope boy, a dope dealer, a corner boy would sell you a bag that had a little bit of, maybe weed bag might have been just straight oregano because it looked like weed. And if you high, you could sucker somebody who was already high into buying the oregano. And by the time they came back to that corner, you was long gone. And in you being long gone, they smoking oregano thinking they were smoking what they had thought they bought. Same thing with the cocaine, same thing with the heroin. And this is how people overdose. This is how people die. Then you got products that are being enhanced with all these different chemicals. And now you got this, in our neighborhoods, it was overdosing. Now today it's an opioid pandemic. Okay. But in our neighborhoods, we wasn't given that much credit. So at the end of the day, I hated, one, getting beat when I would recreationally use. And then two, when I got into the world to make money for myself, people would come to me on a regular basis because my product was straight. I didn't have to hype it. I didn't have to sell it. I had to put up billboards. I have to send people around to give it away. When you tasted it, you was like, yo, this is quality. I'm coming back. Sorry, guys. That's the life I used to live. And all that came with it, the good, the bad, the ups and the downs. So this ain't a glorification. This is a testimony. Then I got out of that kind of life and I moved into another life of trying to make money for myself. And that was following these Amway products. And my mom and them used to do Tupperware, good quality, Mary Kay, Avon. Y'all know those things were good qualities when multi-level marketing was actually integral. So we got into some things like Primerica. And I would sell Primerica because it was a quality program for those of us who did not have what insurances should be and didn't have the understanding and education. So everything, if I ever had to sell something, if I ever had to sell something to make money, let me say it that way. If I ever had to sell something to make money, I would never make it about me having to sell it. If you wanted me to hype you up and gas you up and tell you to come buy this because it'll got these properties, it'll change your life, it'll do this, it'll do that, you got the wrong person. However, if I had a product and I had access to a product that I knew without me saying a word, as long as you took it, you tried it, you used it, it did exactly what it was invented to do. And that invention is what you needed for your life. Salesmanship is out the door for me. I just say, hey, look, I have X and so there it is. So what I did was I got involved in another company after selling Primerica. I got out of it because they wanted to go with a whole bunch of hype and some of the stuff they were advertising just didn't match up to the product's line. So I got out of Primerica and then I went into another company. It was a company that I just stumbled up on because I was in Primerica, but they were what we call fire hydrants. And if you guys know about fire hydrants, they have this white foam that come out. Some have a little wetter foam that come out, and some, you put out fires with water. Well, certain fire hydrants couldn't put up fire extinguishers, couldn't put out certain types of fires. All fire extinguishers were not equal. And some were specifically used for grease fires, wood fires, and grease fires that travel on water, and electrical fires. So there was usually a need for you to know specifically what kind of fire you were subjected to before you bought a fire extinguisher. Some of y'all need to check your apartments and your homes and your condos and your houses for the type of fire extinguisher you have. I am not selling fire extinguishers. However, when I came across this one from a fireman friend of mine, he says, this will save a lot of people from dying. A fireman, while we were having drinks, tells me this will save a lot of people from dying. And when we get there, we will have less to fight and we can be more effective. So I'm like, all right. And he says, he can't sell it. And he wasn't trying to tell me to sell it. He just told me about the product. And somehow this product came to my desk. And I said, done. See if we can buy it. How much is it? Do we get it at a discount? Can we turn it over and put it out there? We did it, put one program together. And all I ever, listen, y'all, don't believe the hype. Don't think I've lost. Don't think I've gone off track. Don't think I've gone off track. Just listen. I actually did a demonstration. The guy that had it showed me a demonstration. He showed me a grease fire, a wood fire, paper fire, and a fire that can travel on water, which is basically a grease fire, and electric fire is how they start. Then he showed me the differences in the particular types of extinguishers that were being used. Some of the foam did all that, but even if one of them was able to kill everything, it left your house a mess. You needed a professional cleaning crew to come in and get all the chemical that was sprayed in, and then that chemical was toxic to you and you're breathing. He did a demonstration. I watched. He didn't have to say, he was trying to sell it, and I said, man, I don't want to hear you talk. I don't, just show me the product. I don't have time. Because if I go into a store, off that subject, if I go into a store to buy a garment, I don't want a salesman coming up to me. One, if I went into that store, I know what I'm coming in for. If you have it, I'll get it. If you don't, I'm out. Do not try to divert me to another product you're going to make a commission on, and that's the only reason you took me to that product. That's why I don't like salesmanship. Now, I want y'all to catch this. So as this, back to the story, when this gentleman shows me these extinguishing products, he puts this chemical from an extinguisher on all three of these fires, and each fire required a different chemical extinguisher. Then he says, over here is all three fires, and he lit them all at the same time, and he pushed one extinguisher, and it killed all three at the same time. I said, I don't need to see anymore. Yeah, but I do this. I said, son, just tell me how much you got and how much I can buy. Because the fireman who I talked to a week and a half ago, drunk because a life died in a fire he was over at his fire district and his fire engine unit. And he's like, man, if people just knew this stuff, it would save their lives. I'm like, well, if there is a problem, the way to make money, Minister Walker, Elder Walker, and Ann Brown Payne, and some other major leaders in business taught me this years ago. If you're going to ever be wealthy, find a problem, find the solution to that problem, and it should do you well. We have a problem. People are dying even when the firemen get there, and this could help, per the firemen. This could help minimize that loss. Problem solved. So now what takes place next is, as I go ahead and purchase from him, I go around to different people and I don't sell anything. I just simply let them know, here is what it is. You can have it or you cannot have it. I had a person who was good at making meetings. They made the meetings. We came up, we showed up, and we would sell out every time just based on what you saw. I said, you're not going to hear me talk to you. I'm just going to show you something. So I'd show them the product. They like, hands down. Yeah. How many can I get? In the discussion. I don't like selling anything. So now that brings me to the purpose of proceeding word. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh or Elohim. So I come into this thing called Christianity. I get saved by no sales pitch. No, the doors of the church are open. Come to Jesus. Come to Jesus. Come to Jesus just now. I knew all of the antics. I knew all of the words. I knew all the stuff. The doors of the church are open. And I tell y'all all the time, I thought the doors of the church was open when I walked in. Now, if you telling me you locked the doors while I sat down, technically that's kidnapping. So I'm glad you decided to open the church, but if the doors of the church are open and they back there, why you want me to come up front? I'm just having fun. It's Monday. Y'all gonna have some fun on Monday. Is that okay? All right. So don't tell me the doors of the church is open. I knew that when I walked in here. I'm looking around. What you mean they open? How I get in here if they wasn't open the first time? And why are you singing "Come to Jesus" like that? So anyway, oh, I'm sorry, I offended Christian. My bad. Don't believe the hype. Y'all don't. Nobody laughing. Okay, so don't believe the hype. Here's the point. Public enemy. The public's enemy is hype. We have done something within Christendom that Messiah and Paul and Yahweh told us not to do. And false prophets, Profit, off of. False prophets, Prophets, are Profitting, off of. So when you hype somebody up about something you're selling, the probability that you're not going to get what you thought you purchased is very real. And so what we're doing in a lot of cases within some of our arenas of very well-intended faith teachings, we are incorporating, in some cases, unbeknownst to us, hype products that have nothing to do with the core of the reason for why we gather. That's why I tell you all the time that church and kingdom are different. A true prophet of Elohim is only going to tell you the word. You don't have to hype up the word. It will work when you work it. You need to know Messiah. I might have to tell you how it changed my life, but that's a testimony, because we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. But here is why this program today exists. Because right now, people are profiting, prophets and pastors and evangelists and missionaries and whatever else you got going on today, by selling what's being supposedly taught inside of the building called the church. We are selling the benefits and the blessing plans of Elohim, and we're telling you that we have a hack to get these blessings to work in your life. We have a inside wholesale connection, or as we said in the 80s, yo, I got the hook up to get you these blessings from God that they selling inside the church. So if you want these blessings, come down and do this. And it has nothing to do with the instructions that the blessings are connected to. So when you give me a product to use, and the product says it was created for this, and if you do this, the product will give you its purpose. And then you sell me that the product will sweep my floors. You sell me that the product will cut my hair. You sell me that the product will moisturize my knees. And that's not what that product was for. You sold me hype. It's called hyperbole. And when you do that, you lie. And a liar is not tarrying in Yahweh's sight, even though you're carrying and trying to sell Yahweh. Public's enemy. Now watch this. Matthew, are y'all there? Because that was really deep. That wasn't good. Okay. Matthew chapter number 4. Let's go there. Maybe I can help y'all see this. I may be offending people.
We're there, sir. We're there.
I know you there, Prophet Mike. I don't know if everybody else sees it like we do. Matthew 24. I'm going to put my Bible on the screen because I want y'all to read it while we talk about it. Matthew chapter 24. Let's go to verse 1. Now, I want to show y'all where Messiah was very strict and very clear about this. I want y'all to see this. First thing I want you to realize is he's talking directly about the temple, which is technically you and I translation of the church. And in this, he is putting a position for us to understand that this is not what Yahweh intended. And the way you are seeing the temple Yahweh permitted to be built is not the way Yahweh intended. Does that make sense, y'all, before I go further?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Facebook, YouTube, y'all can type in yes, no, let me know so I can move quickly here and swiftly here. Now watch what this talks about, and watch how this works, and watch what this looks like for the believer. Please pay attention. Verse 1, Yeshua went out and departed from the temple. And his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yeshua said unto those showing him the building of the temple, those who are rocking with him in ministry for 3 years, who grew up in this environment, he looks at them and says, okay, verse 2, see ye not all these things? Of a truth, I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another, and that shall not be thrown down. This temple you see, you've seen, you've worshiped, you've made a memorial about Elohim to. You have begun to worship this place based on how the priests are putting it to y'all. He says, not one stone is going to be left upon another. Verse 3. Now that was very, 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 very offensive to anybody in Jerusalem talking about that temple. Verse 3 says, and he sat upon the Mount of Olives. So he left the temple where people do a lot of talking, and he went to go sit on a Mount of Olives, because that's where Yahweh really wants you to do your talking from. He says he sat on the Mount of Olives, and the disciples came unto him privately, like saying, okay, tell us when these things shall be, and what shall be the sign of your coming, and what shall be the end of the world. Yeshua said to them very clearly, pay attention. He answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. First off, many are going to come in my name, saying that they are the Messiah, and they're going to deceive many. Now, I can go on with the eschatology of this, but if you want more of that, deal with me on Wednesday night. But today in the proceeding word, I want you to hear what Messiah, the living word, said. Be careful, take heed, verse 4, that no man deceive you. What he was referencing was the fact that they put their glory in the temple. Messiah left the temple, and the disciples tried to get his attention to come back to the temple. He's like, listen, guys, this was something that Yahweh permitted. I'm going to go over here to the Mountain of Olives, to this mountain where Yahweh sanctioned. That's another conversation for another day, and that is not eisegetical. That is not eisegesis. But we're going to talk about exegesis on this. He tells the disciples, do not let any man deceive you. Now, the Apostle Paul does something very interesting as well here when he talks about this. And I'm going to get to the real main reason for why I'm here. I'm going to put this on the board too. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. He's talking to the Thessalonians. In chapter 2, verse 7, he goes on to explain some things to his Talmudim, basically the churches that he's helping to know the knowledge of Elohim. In Thessalonians chapter 2, I'm going to start at verse 1. I'm going to end at verse 17. But just listen to what Paul says so I can finish this message in the next few minutes. Now, I beseech you. Now, Paul says, we beseech you, those who carry this gospel of Yeshua HaMashiach. We beseech you, my dear brothers, by the coming of Yahweh, by the coming of Yeshua HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him. He's talking about the rapture. Verse 2 says, that you be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Messiah is at hand. Verse 3, listen to the words. Listen to the words. Sound familiar? Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, who is the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worship, so that he, as God, sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember you not that when I was with you, I told you about these things? So be mindful of it. Verse 6 says, now know ye, and now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who knows, verse 7, I repeat. Now, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. See, this is hype. Verse 8, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom Adonai shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. Well, guys, what is the spirit of Adonai's mouth? Is it his word? I'm going to think so. Yeah, I'm sort of thoroughly convinced that the spirit of his mouth is the word. Okay. And that's how he shall consume the wicked once they've been revealed, because they have been giving you words that have dressed and adorned them and hidden their true intentions towards you. Verse number 8, I reread for sake of clarity. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom Adonai shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming comes after the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and what? Can y'all say that word for me on the count of three? And what? 1, 2, 3, and lying wonders.
Lying wonders.
Lying wonders.
So did he say lying? He said lying.
Yes,
So a lie is a lie. He's talking about somebody lied about wonders and made them believable. Verse 10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. See, a lot of us are believing the love of the organization, and that's not going to save you. We are receiving the love of the person speaking about these lying wonders, and that's not going to save you. Verse 11 says, and for this cause Elohim shall send them strong delusion. What? That they should believe a lie. What? Wait, what is Elohim doing? Yep. Elohim is sending them a strong delusion. Somebody say, don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype.
Are y'all picking up what we putting down here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do y'all see what Elohim is doing because of what the people have conditioned themselves to accept and receive? See, there's so much false prophesying going on to so many of y'all. Yahweh's going to let the prophets, the false prophets, just keep doing it. That's a strong delusion. You better understand, Church of the Living God of Elohim, you are amidst a group of people within Christendom and other faith systems that are false prophesying. That is strong, believable delusion. Now, I know you're not in church, but tell your neighbor right where you sit right now, smack yourself in the forehead and say, don't believe the hype. I could have had a V8.
Believe the hype.
I sure could have had a V8.
That was okay. So let's get back to the word. Verse number 11 says, and for this cause Elohim is going to send them strong delusion, that they believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the
True.
but had pleasure in the unrighteousness. Uh-oh. So if I don't keep Yahweh's commandments, which are righteousness, if I don't keep Yahweh's commandments, which are righteousness, I am having pleasure in unrighteousness, and I'll be damned. And Yahweh is saying, because you keep not believing my truth, you keep not keeping my commandments, you keep doing what is not right in my sight, you keep not understanding why I gather you to ministry, why I gather you to church, why I bring you these days, and you do your own days rather than my days, I'm going to let people just keep telling y'all that. I want to see the people who follow my truth. This is what Yahweh is really letting us know through the Apostle Paul. I am going to send so much of what you have let yourselves become receiving of, that if you don't know the truth yourself, then that's going to be on you, because you're smart enough to know better, but you choose to do what you think externally benefits you the quickest. So in this, he says he's going to send, Yahweh is going to send a strong delusion upon the people. That thing doesn't bother me, but it's something you need to catch. Verse 11, and for this cause Elohim will send strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they might all be damned who believe not the truth. Meaning he's going to give you a chance to study to show yourself approved unto him. Become a workman that need not be ashamed, but one who can rightly divide the words of truth. Now, when someone comes to you, when you know the truth, you can tell if that's some junk, if that's some hype, because you know the word of truth. Now, let me forewarn you, just because you read the Bible doesn't mean you know the word of truth. The word of truth is the word of Elohim. It's found in your Bible. It's talked about in your Bible, but it is also compartmentalized in the first 5 books of your Bible. That's the word of Elohim. Those are his commandments. That's what he needs for you to please him. So if you go along and believe any other hype, and how anybody misconstrues, or how anybody tries to alter the way that Yahweh was giving an instruction, giving a way of life, showing a day and time, showing a particular purpose for all things, because there's to everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under heaven, and you want to make your own time, you want to make your own seasons, Yahweh is allowing that delusion to continue to flow with y'all, because it's like, if you know my seasons, you're not going to not be there. Now, it's okay if you go and do their seasons, you go and do their holidays, but I'm looking for those who know my holy days. I'm looking for those who know my seasons, because they're the ones that matter. If you're going to go do all of those and not come do mine, then that's a damnable scenario for you, because you and me don't know each other. I don't care how much you gather at a church that sells me. I don't care how much you gather at a place that doesn't sell me. So all of this matters in a big way. It doesn't matter that you think because you go to church, which is selling God, you go to church, which keeps trying to display the attributes of God from a particular place of procurement. That is not it. He needs that word, that way, those elements inside that church, inside of us who are the original church, and we need to be living them out daily, not going to that place, looking at them on a stage, being put forward and brandished by people who are just as faulty as myself, and then saying, this is God, you come here to get God. This is God, you come here to get these blessings. This is God, you give this, and I'll make sure God gets blessings, and I'll pray for you, and we'll lay on this altar all day, and we'll intercede for you, and we'll do all this. You can't save me. You can't save nobody. And what Yahweh wants is for you to know the word that does save. It's the word of truth that saves your life from eternal damnation. You believe the hype that goes around what's sold in that store to make these ancillary products you can pick up in 5 ways to know God, 6 ways to get a blessing, 7 ways to find your spouse, 9 ways to fast and move heaven, all of that. And if you buy it in my book for $29.95, God gonna bless you for blessing me to bless other people with this. That is hyperbole.
bomb too, sir.
No, because that might hurt the crickets. The crickets was minding their own business, and they thought that some humans would be talking. So I don't want to hurt the crickets. Not today. But I thank you for the suggestion.
Which your words is dropping the bomb, sir.
So when you understand what Yahweh is doing and saying here in this process, look at what he says in verse number 12. He says that all they might be damned who believe not the truth. Y'all, what's the truth? Does anybody know what the truth is?
His word.
The word. A word.
Let me ask a question. Is his word on display inside of the structure called church or the organization of different faith? Yeah.
That's the question.
It is. No, it's not. That question is answerable. Yes, that's what you display. Come hear the word of God covenant church, apostolic word of God. Here where the word of God is talked about and preached. The word of God is being displayed in all these organizations and these structures and these Walmarts of faith, these Targets of faith, these Sam Clubs of faith, and we're selling blessings. You got salesmen coming out prophesying, come here, let me talk to you. I see this on your life. I'm seeing this in the spirit realm about you and on you. And I had one issue this past week and I talked about, and I hope I don't get in trouble, but we were sharing on Thursday about the camels coming, and somehow camels coming became a prophetic charge. Camels coming is a provision for a work to come. That's why you must know the word in truth. Don't let somebody take a part of an actual lesson, hype it up because it might be able to put profit in their hands, and then they prophesy for profit. That is a problem. Do not believe that hype, because Yahweh is telling you, I'm sending many who will do that. I'm letting them come. Do y'all not hear what he said? I'm sending many. I'm Yahweh Elohim is sending himself. And meaning he's allowing that which already exists in the earth. That means he has contracted with evil to send. Y'all don't get that. Yahweh is contracting with evil. He is an equal opportunity employer. He says the people who say they know me, say they love me, don't listen to me, don't pay attention to my word. They're doing all kind of things their own way. So here's the deal. I'm going to give them a chance to prove themselves. Study to show yourself approved unto Elohim. Become a workman that need not be ashamed, but one who can rightly divide the words of truth. And Yahweh is making it very clear. I am going to send to those who say they with me, to those who gather at the church that sells me, has me on display in the window, has me packaged in cellophane, hanging from a hanger, and in different sizes and in different colors and in different pants and suits and skirts and socks and t-shirts and undergarments. And you got to wear God this way in order to wear this. And this outfit of God works best in this season. And this outfit of God works best in this season. And you're selling it for a cost of whatever it looks like. And what we have to realize is that's hype. If I got to tell you and share with you, the word of God works when you work it. Just don't believe the hype. So Yahweh says, I am going to, so that they know when they stand in front of me, whether they have done well or they have worked iniquity, there won't be any confusion. I'm going to let enough hype. I'm letting hype come. I'm letting all of these false prophecies come. And if you don't know his word, you will be what Solomon talked about, a silly woman laden with sin, led away in silly woman, where you have people coming in What's that phrase? I know some of y'all know it better than I know it right now. People coming in, leading silly women away, why can't I quote it right now, Yahweh? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Wait a minute, let me find that in Proverbs. Because I don't want this. Now, before you ladies think I'm talking about you, I'm not talking about you, females. This is not about you, females, and men doing this, males doing this to females. Somebody say this ain't about females.
This is not about females.
Because this silly woman who will be led away, as Timothy is being told by the Apostle Paul, is in fact the church, the body of, not the body of Messiah, but those who are trying to be like the body of Messiah, because the body of Messiah is the bride. Messiah is the groom. And so if you're trying to be like the bride, meaning you're gathering in the church, you're trying to be, so it's your masculinity, your femininity, all of that. If you are going to be him, if you're going to be a bride of Messiah, that's how you marry the Messiah. You're the bride of Messiah. So this ain't about your gender, brother or sister. This is about your posture spiritually. And are you imitating this? Are you an imposter with this? Because this is how that mechanism gets led away into sin. Let me just pull this up in 2 Timothy verse 3. He says, for this sort, let's go to 2 Timothy verse 3. Let's just go there real quick. I'll come back to 2 Thessalonians. Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 3. Second Timothy 3, verse 6. Listen. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 1. I want y'all to read this. Somebody say, don't believe the hype. Y'all all right? Y'all quiet out there. Y'all all right out there? Y'all all right out there? Y'all all right out there? I want y'all to read this. 2 Timothy chapter 3. Watch. This know also, verse 1, that in the last days, somebody say we in the last days.
We are in the last days.
He says this in this last days, for men shall be lovers, men meaning mankind. Men shall be lovers of their own selves. Do y'all see it? Yeah, I see it.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Covetous. Everybody want to be like somebody else. Y'all around here getting BBLs like they was supposed to be yours. If y'all take your body the way Yahweh gave it to you, please. You telling him he ain't make you right. Anyway, boasters, bragging about what you got. Only Elohim gave you what you got. Proud. You ain't nothing without him. Blasphemers, because you don't know his word. Disobedient to parents. Unthankful. Unholy, because we don't keep the truth. Without natural affection, because we don't keep the truth. Truce breakers, false accusers. All these things are against the Torah. Incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Elohim. Here's the one I want y'all to really look at. Having a form of godliness, but denying the very power thereof. Let me break that back down so y'all can really get that. Verse 5. Are y'all listening? Are y'all reading this? Are y'all reading this? Look at it. Having a form, imitating, mimicking, got a form of godliness, but denying the power of the God. Oh, come on, y'all. Listen, he says, from such turn away. Because this sort of people are they, the ones that got the form of godliness? Oops. Don't these false prophets look like they of God?
Yes, they do.
They do.
Don't these collar toting, cross wearing, rope wearing,
Yep, they got it down pat.
robe wearing, don't they have a form of godliness? This type, you can't turn away from them unless you understand that that's just an adornment. So that means you got to know truth so that when they speak out of their mouth, you are able to say that's not the word. Somebody say the word works when you work the word. Say it. Say the word works when you work the word. So if you come to me talking around the word, all on the skirts of the word, ain't really pushing the word, what you hiding? Do you even possess the word? That's like somebody, we had this guy, we have a group of people in the world that we work, that we used to be a part of in the dope world, where it was called, we would, you know, it would be a heist. All right. So they would set up a meet to buy, and they wouldn't actually have the product, but they talk about the product and they're like, yo, the price is this. You got to meet this over here. We go through this and then you get it here. We drop it off there. Like, nah, ain't no money exchanging hands nowhere unless I see that product right here. So right now, what you telling me is you don't actually have the product, but you want me to give you the money for the product. Somebody say that's the way we would say it in the streets, and we look at them right in the eyes. You're like, yo, that's a problem. Not a problem. That's a problem.
Oh, that's beyond the problem. That's a huge problem.
That's a problem. That's what that means. See, PRO''LEM, problem. Yeah, this ain't gonna work out well for you. And so we're allowing people to come in and sell us like that, and then take off with our goods and never actually be able to deliver what they promised.
Oh my God.
Y'all, I'm teaching y'all, I'm putting y'all up on game. Somebody say that's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Now take the B out. You can't have a B in there. It's like that's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Y'all put the B in. Get the B out. It's not, it's PRO''LEM. That's a problem. I'm trying to teach y'all hood. I'm trying to teach y'all the language, but y'all not following with it. There you go, Wanda Floyd. She did it. She wrote it right. It's a problem. We don't even say problem. It's a problem. Okay. That was funny. It was good.
Yeah.
Funny.
An issue of the baser sorts.
Somebody tuck her down into the audience, please. Just tuck Elder Rogers.
That's a problem.
Somebody tuck Elder Rogers down into the just tuck her down neatly down there, please. But yeah, so listen to what he says here. Watch. He says, verse number 6. He says, this sort. What sort, y'all? What sort of people? Those who have a form of godliness, but they deny the very power of Elohim. He says, because this is the kind, verse 6, this sort are they which creep. Ooh, Luther Vandross sang a song, creep, creep. Y'all remember creep? He said, this sort creep into the houses and they lead captive, silly women laden with sins. And they led them away with a whole bunch of different kinds of lusts. Watch verse 7, y'all. I'm talking about these false prophets in our world. They are ever learning something in the Bible, but they are never able to come to the knowledge of the truth because we've been taught not to read the Torah. We've been taught to read only the New Testament. So they've been learning all that stuff on that end and never came to the knowledge of the truth. I breathed on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, that hit different.
Pastor Michael, sir. It really does.
That hit different. Watch it again. Let me read it again. having a form of godliness, Yahweh is going to let them come through. He's not even going to tell the Levites, the truth people, to stop them from coming. He says, you taught them the truth. Now is their time to show that they know the truth. So when somebody comes in with a form of godliness, though they look like you, they need to be able to discern when that person opens their mouth, whether what they're saying is from the word or they selling some hype. And you don't want to believe the hype. So he says, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. Watch this. He says you need to turn away from such. But he says in verse 6, look at verse 6, look at verse 6, look at verse 6. He says in verse 6, he says, for this sort, them having the form of godliness, this sort, they are them that creep into the houses. But then he goes to verse 7 and says, this sort is ever learning. Ain't they coming up with a new lesson sometime? Ain't they coming up with a new y'all don't want to talk to me today? Somebody say this sort is ever learning.
This sort is ever learning.
Are they not always coming up with a new title to put on their marquee for their next convention? Are they not coming up with a new title for their message that sounds deep, so you will think they know something? Are they, y'all help me? I'm not coming for nobody. I'm just coming for that spirit. Y'all hear me? They going into other people's places and spaces and hearing these little words and listening to authentic teachers and coming like, oh, I can. Here's the phrase, y'all. Be careful with. Oh, that'll preach.
Oh, that'll preach. Oh my God.
Y'all not gonna say nothing. I don't want to be by myself.
Oh, you're not by yourself. I'm trying not to be the one to say something.
You ever been in a situation like, oh man, that was a good word right there, and they like in their head, that'll preach. They hear a phrase in the sermon, that'll preach. They hear a cue in the moment, that'll preach.
Have you ever been told that to your face?
Absolutely, 100%, and have said it myself until Yahweh showed me. He said, listen, be careful, because when I say that'll preach, I'm thinking that will help a whole lot of people. I've sat with jokers like, yo, that'll preach. Man, we can get them at the altar for that. And see, getting them at the altar does not mean getting them to come down and confess their sins. Getting them at the altar is where you actually put up the offering plate in most churches. I'm just asking for a friend.
That'll preach.
Yahweh says he will allow this sort to come in. Because this sort is ever learning, but never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Paul goes on and makes it very clear. He then takes him back to times when Moshe was having an issue with another group of people called Janus and Jambres. And these people resisted the Torah because they were men who have corrupt minds, reprobate concerning the faith. That part. I think I should stop here. I don't think y'all really ready for the rest of this. So I've given y'all an hour's worth of this. Was it enough? Prophet Mike. Prophet Mike.
Continue.
Prophet Mike, what you got, sir?
Hey, I got a question. Not a question. I got a comment. Can you explain to us? Because I think I got so much. Can you explain to us why Paul says the women, not female, but he used the word women, what he's actually implicating there? Can you explain that to us, sir?
One more time. So
okay,
right.
So when he says that,
no. I was saying I'll explain it one more time.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Because what people don't understand when you talk about the woman, there's the woman in the marriage because the marriage is between a man and a woman. So in faith, what's true in the natural is first true in the spiritual. We have a savior who is called the bridegroom, who is coming back for his bride. The bride is a woman in theory and concept, which would be connected to the female, which then you have the male. This is your balance issue. So the male needs the female to actually function as a whole, right? So therefore, when Yahweh made man, he made man male and female, created he them. He called their name Adam, right? Even when he separated the female from the male, he gave the female her own pulchritude and then told her, you work together, even though you're separate, as one, the way I created you. I just gave you your separate pulchritudes. Initially, you were one in the same pulchritude. Now, when we talk about that, so the female represents and the woman represents the female factor of the relationship. So when you talk about him saying this guy comes in, verse number 6, chapter number 3, if you look at this, of Timothy, 2 Timothy 3:6, when he says, for this sort of they are which will creep into the houses and lead captive women laden with sins and led away with divers lusts. These people who come in and talk anything and everything around God's stuff, God-likeness, that's how the serpent got Ishai in the garden. Now, she didn't sin, but that's what got their attention. And then she gave that same attention issue to Adam. And now they are working. And he was like, no, they said, if you eat this fruit, you'll be like God. Somebody say God-like.
God-like.
Oh, y'all know that's better than y'all saying amen too. That's how the serpent ended up getting. He said, listen, you'll be like God if you eat this fruit. You won't be God, but you'll be like God. Somebody say God-like. Y'all not going to talk to me.
God-like.
Not one wow, not one oh my, none, nothing, just okay. All right, so you got to understand that when you talk about being like God or God-like, you're not God. But they got sold, and through the way it was verbed, they thought they would be equal to God, not realizing they were already in the best possible seat to demonstrate and manifest a person of dominion like God, because they were made in his image and in his likeness, and they were given dominion over the earth like he had dominion over the heavens. And they didn't realize it because they believed the hype that their existence was to be like God over the heavens. And you were created to only have existence and dominion over the earth. Don't believe the hype. It'll damn you. Make sure you know the truth. Adam, you were made to create. Adam, you were made to till the ground. Who told you, other than this hype, that you was going to be like me in all the galaxy? I put you on earth because after I made everything from Adoma, I said, I don't have a man to till the ground. That's why I made you, who made the ground, who made the stars. And that's why I made you. You'll be like me in this way. What hype told you you was going to be above me? Oh, would it be the same type of hype that thought that they could exalt their throne above mine? Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Tell your neighbor, smack him on the forehead, say, don't, it's you. You're your neighbor. Smack me. If you're I, either smack myself or me with a high five. Don't touch another human. You just, if you're I, smack myself or me with a high five and say, don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype.
You got your choice. Smack me or myself, but one of them two hit them and say, don't believe the hype. That was funny. Y'all didn't like that. That's the church stuff we do. I just was trying to put that there. Yeah. Don't believe the hype, y'all. It'll damn you. I promise you. So, woman here is representing the bride of Messiah, or those who are trying to be the facsimile thereof. The bride of Messiah is a necessary element. It is what Messiah is coming back for, and that's the woman. Now, here's the catch. He's not coming back for some female in gender, right? The womb man, I'm the bride of Messiah. Prophet Mike, are you the bride of Messiah?
I'm definitely the bride of Messiah.
So technically, though I'm straight man, I know you straight man. I ain't got no unequivocal. There's no unequivocalness about. There's nothing unequivocal. There's nothing that I'm confused on. I'm straight masculinity, trying to fighting to keep testosterone even to this day. Only thing with estrogen I like is a Jamaican pear. To y'all, it's called an avocado. Love them things. But you know, yeah, we straight man. But I am proud to be the bride of Messiah. That makes me this woman in verse 6. That makes me this woman in verse 6. That makes Pastor Prophet Mike this woman in verse 6. Because if we listen to people who don't know the truth, coming in looking like godliness, talking like godliness, but not the truth, saying they got the product and you got to give to me to get it, when Yahweh controls the product, bruh, sis, you ain't got it. I ain't got to give to you to get it from Elohim. Kind of game you running? Y'all not talking to me. Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah. Ain't nobody talking to me, Prophet.
I'm trying to be quiet.
And so he says that's what that woman looks like. He says this sort, those who have the form of godliness, but deny the power of Elohim because they don't know his truth. He says this sort creep into houses. What houses? The house where the bride is being kept, waiting for the Messiah to come. And if the bride ain't fully committed to the Messiah, i.e. his holy word, but they caught up in the possibility of some other stuff that could be leading to him, and I want to hack to get to him quicker, and I want to hack to be the first one and all that. Now, the word of Elohim is very clear. It's very true. If you don't know it, then you can be led away by hype. And there are people that are coming in with hype, have been coming in with hype, and Yahweh is going to allow the dams to be open and let them flood in. This sort creep into houses and they lead captives silly. See, a truthful woman ain't silly. If you a truthful woman, say, I am truth, I'm not silly.
I am truth. I am truth. I am not silly.
There's only two people.
I thought it was just me. I thought it was just me. I figured it was a pride issue. I was going to let it slide, but I'm so glad I got another witness in the faith. Y'all, that is a prophetic word because some of us act silly even though we know truth. So I would suggest you take this prophetic moment and make it a decree. I am truth. I am not silly.
I am truth. I'm not silly.
I am truth. I am not silly.
Nobody caught that, Prophet. The brothers didn't catch that. We thought we was talking about just women, females. We just explained that this is not about your gender. So the brothers, you need to say it too. I am truth because I'm the bride of Messiah. I am truth. That's what makes me the bride of Messiah. I am not silly.
I am truth. I am not silly.
What they talking about? He on his program got men talking about they women. The truth make you free. Truth make you free. Still ain't get the type of broadcast. We still didn't get the response we had hoped to get. Look at this. Ever learning. This hype is ever learning new ways to hype you, new ways to gas you up, new ways to gaslight you. Ever learning, but never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Y'all listen, like I tried to explain to y'all a long time ago, we all know that the enemy of our faith is evil. Evil puts out these public service announcements inside of our chosen communities where we exist. And they're doing it all the time, ever learning. And these places which we frequent, which we go to, which we understand, which we embrace, these places are getting filled with hype and fluff. We call them pipe dreams. We call them unrealistic expectations. Spin around 3 times and God gonna bless you. When you spin around a 3rd time, drop $80 in an offering plate. God gonna bless you. It ain't in the word. If it ain't in the word, I'm not doing it. If it's not in his word, I'm not doing it. I'm preaching from Psalms 150 and verse 20. So God said, now, when I put the numbers together, 15020, God said somebody in the room today can give $150.20. God said somebody in the room today could give $15,000 and $15,020. God said somebody in the room today can give $1,500.02. God said that ain't in the word. That ain't how you give. Why are we falling for this hype? Now, Apostle, you mess with somebody's grind. Yeah, I'm not gonna have y'all get ground up. Even Messiah said, listen, Simon, Shaitan has desired to have you that he might sift you like wheat, but I've given you my word that you fail not, that your faith, your word, your faith, your truth, your faith don't fail you in that hype moment. Man, I'm talking real good on this Monday. Man, I love drinking water when I'm talking to y'all. I'm going to keep this to myself. All right.
No, you're not.
I got to. I'm done. Ain't nobody else excited about it. It ain't doing nothing for nobody. I'm just gonna move on. I'm not here for the likes. I'm not. But what I have learned, and I'm not calling nobody swine, but what I have learned through my years is a phrase of passage we did not understand. I no longer will cast my pearls. Do y'all know what that phrase was talking about when he said, don't cast your pearls before swine?
Come on, explain it to us, sir.
Help us out. Help us, Apostle.
Y'all really ready?
Yes, sir.
What do y'all know? Do y'all know that was a scathing indictment of the temple?
No, never.
All right, let me break it down. And when y'all get it, let me know y'all got it. Y'all ready? I'm going to do this nicely. Cast not your pearls, your jewels that cost you. Understand what a pearl is. A pearl comes from a shellfish out of the waters. Do y'all know how a shellfish gets a pearl?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It sucks in the toxins in the waters that make the water unclean, traps those toxins inside of its shell until it becomes hardened and that the toxins can no longer harm, but now it becomes something of value. So that means your pearls are all the toxic situations you lived through and came through. Don't just cast your pearls. Okay, so that's a pearl. Nobody, just me and Prophet Mike.
Yeah, get it.
Oh my God, that's a whole nother lesson.
Yeah.
Nobody, just me and Prophet Mike gonna get that.
Yeah. No. That'll preach. That'll preach right there.
Mute that woman now, please. Put her down.
That makes sense, Apostle. That makes a lot of sense.
Don't cast your pearl. What is a pearl? A pearl is made from stress and time. That's why you don't eat shellfish. Oops. You know that the crab got those dead man fingers? Okay, I'm gonna leave y'all alone for a minute. Now y'all don't, nobody wants to hear it now, Prophet Mike, because I done messed with the crab boil. I done messed with the crab boil. I done messed with the crab boil, the sacred grail of the crab boil. Boy, I'm in trouble.
You were all right when you was talking about the pork.
You don't cross the line. Now you don't cross the line.
You done crossed the line talking about the crab boil.
The crab boil.
And the mussel. But listen, that pearl is made from stress, taking in what is death to its environment so it can be filtered into something good. Now, humanity somehow found value and they saw the beauty of that pearl. The smaller that pearls take a long time to create. But that pearl, inside of it is condensed a lot of the sea and its debris of toxicity. See, until you can make your toxicity become a jewel and a gem, that's a pearl.
Don't talk about it.
I'm not going to. I can't because they're not ready. All right, so don't cast your pearl before swine. Pearl, we know what a pearl is. Say, I know what a pearl is. Say it. Say, I know what a pearl is.
I know what a pearl is.
Now, did Messiah come to his own or did he come to the Gentiles?
His own.
So he was talking to his own, not the Gentiles, when he says, don't cast your pearls before swine, right?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So he wouldn't be talking about swine in his own environment because his environment don't eat swine.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Man, this is a whole nother lesson.
Again. So he was indicting the temple that you guys are so far from Elohim. You are the very thing we're not supposed to be consuming or having near us. Now, when you, Mr. and Mrs. Testimonial, decide to find it necessary to be literally betrothed by the swine, who is the form of godliness, who ain't even supposed to be in here, be careful. Don't cast your pearls before swine, because they will take the thing that that you helped to process for the good of the world and the good of you, and your toxicity is now turned into a gem, a jewel. They will take it and tell you it didn't mean nothing. And the weight of their obesity and their purpose in the earth will crush that pearl. And then they'll turn around and cut you with it. So I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna leave that there.
That's a whole
I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna leave that there. But
Apostle, I'm serious this time.
I know you lost your serious card 2 minutes ago. Listen.
Give her another chance.
No. Here's why. Because once you ask this question, I'm going to go 4 hours. Bring it up during a Shabbat or something.
No, it's not a question.
Go ahead, Elder. What you got?
I was going to say, so it's sort of like when you give your testimony or you share your experiences, confiding in someone, quote unquote, and then they'll take the very same thing that you told them and all your experience and throw it back in your face and use it to harm you.
That's a good thing to say, and you are a part of it, but there's layers to that. Because what we're talking about now is these people have a form of godliness. How does a pig have a form of godliness in the temple before Yahweh gave permission to eat swine?
That's it. That is it. Appearing to have a form, but denying the power.
They denied the power of Elohim the whole way through. That's why Messiah was not recognized. I hope that helps it.
Okay, I got one more, sir. Sorry. I got one more.
I hear you, Dr. Rosenberg. Dr. Rosenberg, Apostle. She said, Apostle, leave it. This is definitely a whole different lesson. but I hope y'all are learning something. Okay. Prophet Mike, that's the woman.
Correct.
Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Sorry.
Here's the problem with the woman issue. Verse number 6. For this sort are they crept in. For this sort are they crept into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sin. Because these women are looking for what they have heard about. And this is why it's important for you to understand that the man must find the woman. The husband must find the wife. Because this woman is looking for the Messiah, and it will have anything that looks like the Messiah based on the information out about the Messiah. And that's how you got these men having a form of godliness, but they deny the power. He's like, turn away from them. Because these are the ones who creep into the churches. They watch y'all notice that. I don't think y'all get this. They watch to see what they can get away with. Let me help y'all. Somebody say they creep.
They creep.
When you creeping, what you doing?
You sneaking.
So what happens when you sneaking?
Yeah, you paying attention to your surroundings.
You paying attention to all your surroundings. You're not just walking light. You're not just walking on glass. You're not just walking on ice. You are paying attention to everything around you so you don't get identified, and you look how you can become chameleon. How can I fit in here? Oh, don't move too fast that way. And you will creep for a minute. So you will have dressed according to what whoever you targeted was looking for. And you're listening to what they say when nobody knows you're listening to what they say. That's why y'all need to stop telling these people your business. Stop going to church to make friends. Watch this. Make this a quote. Y'all ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You ready?
Friendship wrecks fellowship.
So true.
That's a good quote.
Friendship wrecks the fellowship. Y'all don't like that, do y'all? It's deep. It hurts a little bit because you've been taught to go and have friends. But here's the thing, and I've been an employer for a long time, right? And for others, for myself, yada yada. I don't employ my family too much no more unless it's a business we're starting together. Because when I had jobs that I was responsible for with, McDonald's, with Rico, with Camera Shop Incorporated, with Miller Brewing, and I would hire my family or my friends, they would mess up the efficiencies in many cases and the proficiencies and mess up sometimes the bottom line of the company I was asked to run, because the friendship becomes what we call familiarity, and then familiarity can breed contempt, and contempt sometimes manifests its way into thinking that they can take things for granted, like not show up like every other employee on time for work, and not make sure that they take their lunch breaks at the same time, and thinking that they can just do a no call no show and whenever they want to, and then all those different kind of nuances that come along with it. You got to be careful, because friendship will wreck the fellowship. And friendship is what gives the godlikeness creeper its fuel and its home inside that vessel. Because they're listening to you over talk. Y'all know I keep telling y'all in Christendom we do way too much. The creeper sits and listens to what you're talking about. Ooh, I didn't know that. Really? Hey, I was just sitting over here in the corner. Yeah, you know what? It was funny because I was thinking about it too. It was like, really? Oh, yeah. So you, oh, yeah. And they've been listening and watching how you move. Y'all be very careful. There was a lot of more eyes on you than you think that you know. And I'm telling you right now, every eye is, be careful. This is where you can't believe, because the hype that comes, listen, let me help y'all with this. I'm gonna show y'all some of the biggest hype y'all never seen. Everything you do online, every keystroke you make on your computer, somebody is watching that keystroke. I got all these VPNs and I got all this Nordic fault protection and all this. Somebody is watching every keystroke you made and selling the information of how you think, in the dark, in the light, when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're up, when you're down, when you want to lose weight, when you don't want to lose weight, when you're crying, when your marriage is in a wreck, when your marriage is excited, when you want to take a vacation, when you want to make a trip, when you want to make these plans, when you want to eat something, when you want to cook something. Everything is being watched, and that information is saleable. There is your modern day prophet.
Oh, wow.
So that is happening in the cyber world, right? But you know what had to happen and start somewhere else. So you got people sitting inside your church, and now all of a sudden sitting inside some of your arenas. I'm not coming for the church, y'all. I got to say this better. I'm coming for that spirit that operates in it, and we who allow it. And Yahweh says he's going to allow it to come through. And if you don't know truth, you will allow it to attach to you. Don't believe the hype. Know his word so you can identify when something is trying to hype you up, gaslight you, and then siphon from you. By the time you get done with all the emotional up and down and roller coaster that it puts you on, they put you on. Oh, God showed me this about you. No, they overheard you in the corner when you was talking, and you was you didn't know nobody was else there because you was talking to Sally Mae, and then Jimmy Jean came by, and it was just watching how many people you talk to, how your posture changed. They pay attention to all those nuances because they creeping. It's a lot of creeps in your environment.
Literally.
So, Elder Rogers, it's so quiet. I'm gonna give you back your card to talk, child, because it just got too quiet. I'm gonna let you. I just need some kind of noise somewhere. You even got your. You know what? All rights is reserved, and giving back to you, Elder Rogers, to speak, child. I'm just joking. Don't let her talk. Keep it muted.
Only if you insist.
I love that lady. And we give up too much information. In Christendom, we do way too much. Tell your neighbor, I love you. You don't love them. Well, that's what Christians are supposed to do. Loving them is an action. Until you do action toward them, you don't actually love them. Stop making people lie.
Amen.
That should have broke the internet. Okay. If you just met them, you don't love them. Love is an action. If I just met you in church and smack you high five because the preacher said, turn around and tell your neighbor, I love you in the Lord. I love you. You didn't love them, because love is an action. Love is something you do. Love is not what you say. See, Elohim is love. Beloved, let us love one another. For love is of Elohim, and everyone that loves is born of Elohim and knows Elohim. But he that loves not knows not Elohim, because Elohim is actually love. So unless you're doing what Elohim does, you don't love yet that entity. You may have love in you to extend, but until you extend it, you don't love them. Oh, but we've repurposed the word love to mean I like you. And then people who are needy and silly women laden with sin, because you said the love word, now they want to follow you out. And that's men and female, masculine and female in the church, i.e., trying to be the body, trying to be the woman, trying to be the bride of Christ, the bride of Messiah. And we get stuck on words that people are saying, and we don't follow the word. And those words that people say are hype. They hype you up, gas you up, get you set up for a time that they can actually strike, get you smiling in your face and have your face all plunged in the mirror, and they digging in your back pocket or digging in your side wallet or digging in your breastplate, trying to get out what they can get out while they're massaging you to say, hey, look in the mirror, holding you by shoulders and got this motion going on in your body. You don't even realize you're being pickpocketed. Don't believe the hype. All right, it's clear I'm losing my fellowship and I'm losing my viewership on this one. To those of you who will be viewing this in the archives, if you stayed on this long, know that the subject matter is don't believe the hype. And we want you to know that if you don't know the truth of Elohim's word, the form of godliness will fool you. And as it's been stated, Yahweh is going to allow a strong delusion of that same nature. It's already been allowed. It's already been breathed. It's already happening. You're already experiencing it. This is why Paul says, study to show yourself approved unto Elohim. Become a workman that need not be ashamed because they got suckered, but one who can rightly divide the words of truth when hype comes along. That'll preach, but it's not profitable to preach, because that means that when the budget is down and the building fund is down and the need for the conference budget is down, we need somebody who knows how to come in and draw people so we can collect from people. Did y'all know that many times you have a actual speaker come into your church because they are labeled a draw?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, sir. I knew that.
And if they're labeled a draw, D-R-A-W, what do you think that implies? Well, this person's celebrity and status will get the people in the building, and now we have a somewhat captive audience, and we can draw out of them by emotionalism, sensationalism, whatever, how much we need to get the budget fixed. So you just get the people here, we'll get out of them what we need for our purpose. And then whatever happens to that person once they leave the church, it's no longer an issue, because this person who was a draw, they're going back to their world, and their world is not where you are. So how selfish is that?
Great.
I keep getting in trouble. I know, and I'm good with it. I've been fighting all my life. I had to fight. I'm just, okay, let me stop. All right. All right.
You preaching that thing.
I feel like you should have said, but I'll beat him down with this word before I get back into the world. That's what I feel like you should have said, but that's just me.
See, I don't do feelings. That's you. I don't do feelings. I don't do feelings, bro. No, I'm just teasing, man. I'm just teasing. That's good. That's good. Do y'all understand that? Can y'all just say don't believe the hype before we lose everybody on the platform?
Don't believe
the hype.
Did anybody learn anything today about not believing the hype and allowing yourself to know the truth, so that when anything not like the truth comes, any form of godliness comes, any swine you thought to cast your pearl before, you will know that something just ain't, you know what, until that lines up by 2 or 3 witnesses, I'm not going to go with that.
Amen. That's my biggest takeaway.
Know the truth. Know the truth. And that's the part of this that we have to pay closer attention to. So everything that we do, every place that we go, every time that we think about what we want to do and where we want to be, make sure if you are in a process where Yahweh is supposed to be glorified in your world, make it your business to know his truth. Know his truth. Messiah said, let no man deceive you. Take heed, let no man deceive you. So let me ask a question to the platform. How do you not be deceived in a school environment?
Rogers.
Go, Rogers.
If you know the word, you know the curriculum, then it'll be hard for you to be deceived. So
you know the subject matter, you will pass the test if you know the homework, right? If you know the syllabus or the textbook, right? You
correct.
There's no trick question that the professor or the teacher can put on the actual paper that will confuse you, right? Because you did actually do the homework. You did actually read the text. You did actually read the syllabus, right?
Yes, and if you thoroughly understand it, then there will be no trick questions.
Well, there's always going to be a trick question. So what we're trying to say is that if you've read the curriculum, if you've read with understanding, as Elder is saying, if you've read the curriculum and you're understanding it and you're doing the homework, when the test comes, which is designed to see what you recall, no trick question will get you, but there will always be trick questions.
Correct.
So
that's a good analogy.
Mm-hmm. So if you've never read the text and there was a substitute teacher came in and they don't really know how in-depth your previous teacher was, and they start spewing some stuff to you and saying, don't open up the textbook, and they substitute teach for you in your class for a month, and then your teacher came back after a month and gave you a test on this chapter or this set of chapters, and because the substitute teacher never had you open the book, but they just kept talking to you about it, when the test came from your teacher about these truths in this chapter, are you going to fail that test or pass that test?
Fail.
You're going to fail.
Do y'all know that's what's happening in our church? Do y'all know that that's what's happening right now within Christendom at large?
Unfortunately, yes.
Read the chapters, y'all. Read his words. Don't believe all the hype. I don't care how eloquently they speak, how big and enticing words they share. I don't care how they stitch it together. Make sure you read the word. Out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses from that word, let every word be established. And Yahweh establishes his rightness by way of his word. Don't get sucked out of your money anymore. And well, I'm never going to get invited to nobody's church to preach again. All right. And that's cool because I'm not with it. But here's a catch. I get the stories of so many people who've lost so much because they gave so much based on a hyped up service and a officiant in that service who hyped them up about promises of God that later they read the Bible never existed. And if they did, there was a process you went through to get it. And they ignorantly sowed They weren't dumb. They weren't idiots. They just ignorantly, unknowing the process, unknowing the word, sowed elaborate amounts of time, service, and financial resources and other resources. I mean, see, resources ain't just about money. Resources are about like other people you're connected to who can make and shake and move and get things done and accomplished. And the blessings associated to this hyped up issue of what we should do to get it never manifested. Because none of it could be validated through the word. If you do what the word says do, ELOHIM guarantees what he says. I love how we allow for prophecies to go forward, and then people say if the prophecy don't come to pass, well, you wasn't living right. That's why God ain't do it. And all these clauses that suddenly come up. You didn't give me that clause when you said, you know, God said the next 15 people that give $10,000, God's going to do this, and that. You didn't give me the clauses then. You didn't give me, you don't give me the clauses now. It's 13 years later, and that ain't came to pass. Don't tell me, well, you must not have been living right. Or, you know, God, I don't know when God gonna do what God say he gonna do. All right, so, okay, I see. And unfortunately, I'm really having fun with this because there are instructions that Yahweh does give and will give, but they are by his word. If it ain't in his word, if you're going to get something that makes you feel compelled, now let me give you the practical way to do this. If there is something you get from a prophet and a prophetic conference and all this stuff that we're talking about through our revivals and all of our programs that we do, and someone says, God said this, find it in the word. Make sure it's there. And then put it to the Father. He'll tell you whether this is of him or about him, to get them who love him to support them. Don't believe the hype. Prophet Mike, what you got? You said you had one more thing. What you got, bro? I got to get out.
Okay, so on the subject where you're at right now, is it fair to say that the reason Yahweh allows the heavy delusions is because of the new covenant?
I want to make sure you and I are on the same page about the new covenant.
Okay, let me rephrase it then. I'm sorry. Is it fair to say, because of the new covenant, I will write the word?
Okay. In their heart and in their minds, right?
Right. That because I inserted, I put my word already in you. That was after Yeshua, because this is written after Yeshua. Mm-hmm. Now we're under a new covenant. Okay. And because I put my word in your heart and on your minds, you hear truth, but you ignore. Right. And so because the word always illuminates. Yeah, the word will always illuminate. And you're asking whether or not Yahweh allows for this delusion to come because of the new covenant and understand the new. So in the word, in the scripture, when it says that he sends heavy delusion, and you said he'd allowed it to happen, I didn't stop it. In other words, I'm not going to stop them from right selling you a gasoline dream, like we call it. Right. Because my word is in you. You should know. So something in you told you that that was wrong, right, but you chose to follow it. Mm-hmm. Will you line it up with my word? This is why I tell everybody, filter everything that comes your way by the word. You do that,
you will put yourself in the best possible way to succeed always. So does he allow the delusion? Well, he said he did for reasons. And when you look at what he says in both 2 Timothy 3, he wants you to be as you should know him to be. He put his word in you. He didn't put his word outside of you. He didn't change the word that he gave to Moshe because of Yeshua. He just changed the location of the word. Let's be very clear on the new covenant. And like Prophet Micah is saying, that you must know his word in order to know his way. Because anybody can come to you and sell you something and make you think that that is appropriate. And because it sounded biblical, remember, the Bible and the word are, the Bible is in the word, but the Bible is not, pardon me, let me repeat. The word of God, the word of Elohim, creator of heaven and earth and all that therein dwells, the word of Elohim is in the Bible, but the Bible is not the word of God. It contains the word of God. There are 61 or 79 other books and writings that are commentaries of that word. They tell the testimonies of whether someone did the word or didn't do the word and what they got as a result of their actions. But the word is the Torah. The epistles are different. The prophets, though they only propagate the Torah, are different. The Psalms, Proverbs, the book of Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, they are words that talk about the Torah, talk about the principles and the living conditions and the ways of Torah, but they are not the Torah. They are ways to help you practically carry out the Torah. The life of Yeshua HaMashiach, the books of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and then John's account, all of them show you how to live the Torah, the word. So him allowing for the strong delusion to come is a part of his way of saying, I've given you all chance in the earth. I've given you the syllabus. I've given you the textbook. And these false prophets are the trick questions coming your way. But I gave you everything you needed to pass these tests. And when you kill my prophets all the day long, because my prophets told you the truth of the word and that you're not doing what we asked for, that's why you killed Messiah. But instead, when my prophets come to tell you the truth of the information I had given you, you like the way the other prophets, not of me, would sell it because it was something they could manipulate and make you feel happy about, and then make it sound like it came from me. See, that's the problem. That's why Paul, who was a victim of the hype, the Apostle Paul was a victim of the hype. The Apostle Paul said, I am, as it relates to the law, I've been trained like a Pharisee. And he learned the halakha, which included the Torah, but overshadowed the Torah. Some of the Mishnah and the Talmud that he was reading and responsible for trained him up, hyped him up under temple-style worship. But by the time the actual teacher of the temple showed up, all those substitute teachers had hyped up so much other stuff and added so many different regulations that when they saw the actual teacher of the class, they were like, you ain't the real teacher. Get out of here. We don't want to hear that. And then they called him blasphemous, when in fact, blasphemy is what they were in. That is not anti-Semitic. I love all people Israeli. I love all people who are of Torah observation. I honor Torah, but I will talk historically about the conditions of life that our Bible portrays. And you can look that stuff up with your own history. It's easy to do. And I love all bloodline of Abraham. It's a shame that I have to make sure I say that every time because of all the different narratives that are coming out. And if you say this, you're that. If you say this, you're the other. You're racist, or you're anti-Semitic, or you're anti-Black, or you're anti-white. Shoot, we're anti-God. How about we start there? And since God made the Jew, and God made the melanated, and God made the Caucasoid, and God made the Mongoloid, why don't we start there? Learn the history of his word, learn the intent of his word. Don't believe the hype around his word. Stay in the main vein of his word, and we will know truth for itself. So I believe that much of what he let come through, and what he is allowing to come through, and what he is basically sending. Yeah, do y'all know that the storyline when he says he's going to allow for that, he is going to send a strong delusion? When Yahweh says he's going to send a strong delusion, and he's going to allow it to happen, he showed us that in the Old Testament. Anybody know where he allowed and sent a strong delusion?
Rogers.
Go, Daphne. Go, Daphne. Was that Daphne? All right, wasn't Daphne then. Who was that person that spoke under Elder Rogers? Jackie? Oh, Jackie, go, Jackie. Minister Jackie, go.
Was it with the witch of Endor? With Saul?
Negative, but that's good that your mind went there. Negative, not that one. Not King Saul, not the strong delusion. Nope. Good one. That's a good thought, though. I see where you went with that. Anybody else? Elder Rogers, were you on? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. It was in 2 Chronicles 18 when he sent a lying spirit for.
You cut off, Elder Rogers. You cut off.
2 Corinthians 18 with the lying spirit to deceive.
2 Corinthians 18, where he sent the lying spirit to 2 Chronicles.
Not Corinthians, Chronicles.
Chronicles 18, right, where he sent a lying spirit to deceive. And Yahweh did that. He sent them a lying spirit because he was trying to bless them, but they had, again, post-Torah. They are believing every other false prophet. He's like, let me see if y'all really know me. And he sent a lying spirit. All right, that's one good one. Who can give me another one from the Old Testament? Y'all ready for this? What about Job?
Yes. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yes.
What about Job? See, in the story of Job, you got to understand chapter 1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. That man was perfect. That man was upright. That man feared Elohim. He hated evil. Verse 2. And there was born to him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 oxen, 500 asses, a great household, and so great that this man was the greatest of all men in the east. Verse 4, his sons went to have a feast. Verse 5, so when it came on their day of feasting was going about, Job sent and sanctified early and rose up in the morning to give burnt offerings in the event that his sons failed to do it. Verse number 6. Now there came a day when the sons of Elohim came and presented themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also among them. So the sons of Elohim that came in this instance, because this book was written in Chaldean, were the angels. These are the angels in heaven. Now, when you see the sons of Elohim in the book of Genesis, where you are getting a Hebraic writing, the sons of Elohim then were the sons of sons of Seth, who were the first ones after the fall to begin to call upon the name of Yahweh, our Elohim. They were the sons of God. They were not angels back then. So that does not give you the right to think that we're talking about the Nephilim as it were angels. So here in Job, verse number 7, it says, well, verse number 6 says, and that day the sons of Elohim, the angels, came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also with them. So the angels came up, the cast down angel Satan, he also came up, and Yahweh said to Satan, like a regular conversation, where are you coming from? Satan said unto Yahweh, from going to and fro on the earth and walking up and down in it. And Yahweh said unto Satan, have you considered my servant Job? Now there's none like him in all the earth. He's perfect. He's upright. He's an upright man, and he fears me. And he hates evil. Satan said, well, yeah, but doth he fear you for nothing? I mean, have you not put a hedge about him and about all of his house and all that he has on every side? And he's blessed every work of his hand. His substance has increased in the land. But if you put forth your hand now and touch all he's got, I bet you he'll curse you to your face. Yahweh said unto Satan, behold, all that he has is in your power. Upon only his life, don't you touch his life. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yahweh. Did he send forth a deceiving spirit?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Yes.
Now, we going to pass like Job passed, or we going to fail? Because what Job said was, I'm going to wait for my change to come. Yahweh, Yahweh, you gave me everything I got. And if Yahweh, you took it away, Yahweh, you gave it, you can take it away. Blessed be the name of Yahweh. He didn't believe the hype. You know how the hype came to him? In his inner circle. Whoo.
Say that again.
His inner circle came and they said, you must have did something. And man, under all that he lost, I'm sure he must have thought, based on what they said, maybe you're right. But no, Job knew enough about Elohim to be like, nah, I'm not going to believe that hype. If Yahweh gave me everything I got, if he took it back, it's his calling. I'm going to wait for my change to come. I know Yahweh didn't bring me this far to leave me. And man, you can't get a better demonstration of a first fruit pruning. And 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000.
Amen.
1,000.
Oh, come on.
5 1,000. 6 1,000. Okay. Took a minute, but a few of y'all got it. That's why you must stay in the word. Because if you knew in the word, if we understand the word, we understand what that pruning process looks like. And what comes after it. And why Messiah himself explained it. So I hope you guys have had a fun time. I went way over my time. I was supposed to only be an hour with this. I've been an hour, 2 hours and 12 minutes. I hope that you guys, have y'all been blessed? Our viewership's dropped drastically.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We definitely have.
Been blessed. Y'all like to pray.
All righty. Well, don't forget, guys, we got a lot coming up. Listen, I got to remind y'all very, very, very clearly here. We are coming up on the days of the actual feasts of Yahweh, the feast of Pesach. It's going to be a dynamic time. It's going to require, that's it, proclaim it. We are to proclaim Pesach. It is going to be happening on April the 4th at sundown, April the 5th at sundown, April the 6th at sundown, April the 11th at sundown. That's right. It is a feast of Yahweh, which will lead us into Shavuot, which will be on May the 25th at sundown. And then months later, we'll be in Sukkot, which will start in September on the 15th. And these are going to be the days that Yahweh himself has prescribed and desired from his writ. These are his party days. These are his feast days that he wants us to honor him in. And for those of you who know better, and let's do better. All right. This is real kingdom stuff. This is kingdom stuff. This ain't just church. This kingdom stuff. We want to make sure we're in alignment with it. So having said that, I want you to remember that if you're ever part of this program and broadcast, we want you to know you can speak and ask questions and ask us what you want to like, what you want to ask. And we will look forward to making sure we get an answer back to you. So inbox us or whatever you need to do. And we will make sure that we get back to you with answers from the writ, not from some doctrine and not from some book I wrote, just from the word of Elohim, book he wrote. And we should know how to navigate it for life. Well, it's been a joy and a pleasure. Hope that you guys have enjoyed yourself. May Yahweh bless you and keep you is my earnest prayer. I do want to make sure we leave you one last announcement before we go. And after that, we're going to have a wonderful time.
Thank you for tuning in today. I hope that this message has been a blessing to your very life and your soul, and more importantly, your walk with the King. Well, we have come to the end. I hope that you would consider becoming either a partner with us in ministry, or if you're not already a kingdom citizen, consider becoming one. By doing that, you can sow into this ministry so that we are able to continue to teach this type of ministry at a grand scale. Join us on all of our social media platforms and visit our webpage to make your contributions sure. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Shalom Aleichem.
If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word is self-approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken.